Hello. In today's hsbDesign for Revit training session, we are going to take a look at a bit more complex connection details for our exterior walls. To do so, we open up the Framing Styles editor. In here, we move straight away to the connections, and you can set up the preview style up here. So I've created another exterior wall framing style, and as you can see right now, we're using this other framing style that is a bit more narrow. We now add a new detail, and what we want to do is make a gap which is parametric between these walls. And we start by moving all of the items of the secondary wall to the left. Because by doing so, you make it easier for yourself to snatch the points afterwards for your offset line. So we want to snatch our offset line to the outside of the sheet, and we make it fairly big because this one will be parametric later on. We can now anchor our items of the secondary wall to this offset line. And we are changing the beam code to CD. Next up, we're going to the primary framing style, and we're moving this one to the top. This sheet will be way to the top of the outside of this sheet. We can now change the beam code of this one to CD. We're turning this beam, so we're having it as a connector. So we're anchoring it here, and we're changing the beam code. And furthermore, for this one, we're using other element inventory. So for this beam, we're using the element inventory for default beam from our secondary framing style, so it will be the bigger one. Moving on, we want to add a free inventory item. For this one, we're using OSB, because if we're using an OSB, we have instance parameters. So we can just drag it to the right size. So we anchor it to this one over here. We drag it to this, and if we have it in the right size, then we can always anchor it. So this one down and anchor it right here. We also change the beam code of this one to CDS, and we have to change the detail name as well. This is just corner. And now we create two parameters, one distance parameter for the gap, and we set it to 5 millimeters, and we add another pair, a yes/no parameter, to define our connector, and we call this one no connector. And then we select our connector. We make set width to 0. We make this one parametric, so when we click no connector, we would have no connector beam. And furthermore, we're making this offset line parametric as well, with our gap parameter. So after clicking OK, you can now see our detail in here, and I could also switch the preview style to this other framing style. Please note, changing the preview only changes the visualization. By changing this, you can check if the parametric dimensions are well defined. And after clicking OK, we can now generate our construction. To do so, we can select the whole building and hit Generate. So, if we go to this right view, you can see that this gap is visible, but we have a little problem, and it is that our OSB sheet on the outside here is not going all the way to the top and not all the way to the bottom. But we'll fix this in the next tutorial, where we'll take a look at the edge details. So, until then,